Look around the world today. Division is everywhere. Families are torn apart by political disagreements. Communities are fractured by fear and mistrust. Nations are gripped by conflict and hatred. It feels overwhelming. The problems seem too big, too entrenched for any of us to make a difference. But what if I told you that the most profound change that we can create isn't out there? It's in here. It's within us. What if I told you that the power to heal our fractured world doesn't lie in fixing others, but in transforming ourselves? Right now, the voice of division is loud. Fear feels pervasive, but fear is a choice, and division is an illusion. And together we have the power to see through it and step into something greater, a higher consciousness, a united way of being that begins not in governments or institutions, but in the heart of each one of us. Division and fear are not accidental byproducts of modern life. They are deliberate tools. Throughout history, divide and conquer has been used to control populations. It's simple. When we are divided, we are weakened. We expend our energy fighting one another, leaving little room to challenge the systems that keep us stuck. And we see this everywhere. Take a moment to think about how we talk about politics today. It's no longer about disagreeing on policies. It's about viewing the other side as enemies, as fundamentally wrong, or even dangerous. Social media algorithms amplify this by feeding us content that reinforces our existing beliefs, ensuring we stay in our bubbles, stay distracted, and see others as the problem. Even at the family dinner, division shows up. Maybe someone brings up a controversial topic and suddenly you're no longer talking to your loved one. You're arguing with the stereotype you've assigned to them based on their views. The humanity of the person in front of you fades into the background. The cost of this constant state of polarization is immense. It erodes trust, breaks relationships, and fractures communities. It keeps us in a reactive cycle where we spend more energy on proving others wrong than on finding real solutions. And worst of all, it blinds us to the fact that what unites us is far greater than what divides us. Fear is a fuel that keeps division alive. When we are afraid, we become reactive. Our nervous system goes into survival mode, and we lose access to the part of our brain that allows us to think critically, empathize, or problem solve. We lose our center. We lose our connection with our hearts. In fear, we are ruled by instinct, not wisdom. And how is it amplified? Let's face it, fear sells. Headlines are crafted to grab your attention, often by highlighting danger, conflict, or loss. Blaming someone, somewhere for your problems. The more afraid you are, the more you click, the more you consume, the more you stay in the loop of fear. It's a cycle that perpetuates your anxiety as profits soar. The social media platforms are designed to keep you engaged. How? By feeding you content that triggers your strongest emotions, and fear is one of the most powerful. Every time you scroll past a post or a headline that enrages you, or a post that confirms your worst fears, you're pulled deeper into the cycle, reacting, clicking, and sharing fear with your followers. And fear activates your nervous system. It floods your body with stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, which in small doses is fine and helpful because it keeps you alive in a crisis. But when this is chronic, it drains your energy, it disrupts your sleep, it leaves you feeling exhausted and disconnected and anxious. And energetically, fear is a very dense and heavy energy. It lowers your vibration, it keeps you stuck in patterns of reactivity and separation. It blocks connection, both to others and to yourself and to your soul. When fear is the dominant emotion, it creates collective paralysis. So instead of us working together, we focus on defending ourselves, blaming others, or escaping completely. And this keeps us distracted from the bigger picture and prevents us from stepping into our true power as creators and collaborators and as a force of transformation. It makes us feel like we're doing something when we're reacting, arguing, or retaliating, or even retreating. But the truth is, fear keeps us spinning in place, unable to break free from the cycles that created the fear in the first place. The good news is that fear and division, while they are powerful, they are illusions. They feel very real because they've been reinforced for so long. But they're not the truth of who we are. The truth is that we are deeply connected. The truth is that we are capable of stepping out of these cycles and into something much greater. Division and fear are experiences that we all share. I felt the pull. I felt the pain of fear, the temptation to point fingers and assign blame for the state of the world or the state of my own life. But in my work as a coach and healer, I've come to understand something profound. The only way out of this cycle is to turn inwards, to turn into ourselves, into our hearts. My name is Linda Dieffenbach, and I help people uncover and resolve the patterns within themselves that mirror the patterns out in the world around them. They keep them stuck, anxious, and angry. Because healing ourselves is the first step in healing the world. So how do we fix this? How do we arrest the cycle of fear and division and break free from separation consciousness to transform our lives in the world? We have to break free from the illusions of separation consciousness and awaken to higher consciousness, to unity consciousness. Separation consciousness is the belief that we are disconnected from one another. It's a mindset of me versus you, of competition, of fear and mistrust. It's the belief that if one of us wins, another must lose. Unity consciousness, on the other hand, is the realization that we are deeply interconnected. It's understanding that every thought, every action, every vibration we emit affects the whole. It's living in the awareness that healing myself heals the collective, and harming myself or others hurts everyone. The truth is that division may feel real, but it is an illusion. When we strip away the fear, the narratives, and the labels, what remains is our shared humanity. Love and compassion are far more powerful than you can imagine. Love is the most powerful force in the universe, and once we're free from the grips of fear, we can open ourselves to its transformative power. As an example, Nelson Mandela was in prison for 27 years under one of the most oppressive regimes in history. Many people would have come out of that experience filled with bitterness and anger and a thirst for revenge. But Mandela chose a different path. During his imprisonment, his captors had to keep changing his guards. Do you know why? Because every time they decided new guards, he treated them with respect, kindness, compassion. He spoke to them as human beings, not as enemies. And over time, they couldn't help but soften towards him. His love and compassion were so disarming that they became a threat to the system of hatred and oppression that he was trapped in. And when Mandela was released, he carried that same spirit of unity with him. He didn't seek revenge, he sought reconciliation. And because he lived from a place of love and unity consciousness, he didn't just change his circumstances, he changed the world. And that is how powerful love is. So to move into unity consciousness and break free from separation, it's important to understand that every act of healing is an act of revolution. It is a political act. When we work through our own pain and trauma, we stop projecting it onto others, and we create a ripple effect that raises the energy of everyone around us. So as an action step, commit to daily inner work. Do your inner healing work. You can journal, meditate, therapy, reach out to skilled practitioners to support your healing journey. But make sure you focus on doing your inner work so that you're not trapped in the cycle of the past. You also want to question the narratives. So the next time you feel triggered by a headline or a post, pause and ask yourself, who benefits from my fear? It's a really important question. And also, what impact does my reaction have? What impact does it have when I share this? How does that affect the bigger picture? And always ask yourself the question, am I perpetuating the problem or am I part of the solution? So before reacting to anything that you see or hear, take a few deep breaths. get yourself centered, and reflect on these questions. Another step that's really important is practicing presence and connection. Connection starts with being present, being centered in your heart and focused in your body. From there, when you truly see another person without judgment or agenda, you create a space for healing. And you do this through your heart and through being present. As a practice, try listening actively in your conversations today. Focus on understanding and being present rather than responding. Unity consciousness is transformational. It can change the world. And as we step into and embrace that in our lives, in every step of our lives, we not only change ourselves, we change the world. I invite you to imagine a world where division is no longer holding us hostage. Imagine a world where we choose connection over fear, compassion over hatred, unity over separation. That world begins with you and me. It begins within ourselves, with the decisions that we make every day and how we show up in the world, how we treat ourselves, how we treat others. It begins with every act of healing, every courageous conversation, and every moment that we choose to see through the illusion and step into our shared humanity. The wounds of division feel sharp right now, but every one of us holds the power to heal them. It begins with the realization that we are not separate. We are not broken, and we are not powerless. It's not about us versus them. We are all in this ride together. Together, we can step beyond the illusion of division and create a world of compassion, connection, and co-creation. So I want to leave you with 2 simple questions to start working with. The first, am I perpetuating fear or contributing to the healing? And how can I choose unity today? How can I choose love? Let those questions guide you, not just in the big moments, but in the smallest interactions that you take in throughout each day. Because every choice we make shapes the world and has the power to change the world. Thank you.